Behind me is a shrine that's been erected in the courtyard of my congregation. This is a shrine to all of the men and women and little children who have died in the desert, crossing to try and find work so that they can support themselves and their families. And each year, this last year, we continued to set new records for deaths of those poor, desperate people who are willing to risk their lives just to get a job washing dishes or landscaping a yard or roofing a house or caring for children somewhere. And these deaths are all tragedies. They're all human tragedies, and they're tragedies for all of us who care about life and death in this fragile desert. My name is John Fife. I'm a retired pastor of a Presbyterian church here in Tucson, Arizona, and I volunteer in retirement with two humanitarian aid organizations that are trying to save lives of migrant workers in the desert between Tucson and the border. And we encounter tragic stories on a constant basis. Let me just tell you one. Luis worked in Phoenix, Arizona. Worked there for 10 years washing dishes in a restaurant. He was picked up by the Phoenix Police Department for a minor traffic violation. He had a taillight out on his car. And of course he was determined to be undocumented and imprisoned and then deported back to Mexico. That was in August, the middle of August. In September, his body was found in the desert out here. Luis was trying to get back to his family and to his job, washing dishes. His family is a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-month-old baby, infant. All Luis ever wanted to do was to keep his family together, to work hard to support them, and to be a family together. What that means is that I am terribly, terribly devastated, as Luis's family is devastated, by the legislation that requires local police to enforce federal immigration laws. They call it things like Secure Communities Act. It's not secure communities, it's devastating to families. As a pastor, I spent most of my time during the week caring for families, keeping families together, keeping the church together as a family. And now what I find is that the very people who I have depended upon to ensure the well-being of this community are devastating families and children and husbands and wives because they're required to enforce federal immigration law against people who are hardworking Christians. And that is devastating to my community. It's devastating to me personally as a pastor because I care about the Christian faith. And the Christian faith says that families are vital and that the family of the church is vital to the well-being of the whole community and to each one of us. And therefore, when I find laws and regulations that devastate families, and I can't begin to tell you, beyond devastation, the death that's occurring in our desert of husbands and wives and even children trying to keep the family together and to support the family. That's a sin in my judgment. I think it's a sin in everyone's judgment. I'm sure you feel the same way. And so my New Year's resolution is pretty simple. I'm going to try to connect other congregations with one family that needs their support, that needs their protection, and that needs their voice to say, we've got to stop this this terrible, terrible devastation in the name of something called security, which is no security at all. And we've got to change the policy and make sure that families are nurtured and secure, that communities are nurtured and secure, and that means for all of us, especially for families like Luis. So my New Year's resolution is to continue to work to care about our families, and that means all our families.